don't know if you saw Johnny Manziel in Canada, like one of the INTs he threw.
One of the 7 that he threw.
One of the 7 INTs.
He made a great tackle.
He makes a great play on the ball.
That's what that proved is Mac Brown was right. That Johnny Manziel would still be in the NFL if he would have come to Texas and played DB and kick returner. Mac Brown is a genius, knows player development, you know. Of course he won the Heisman or whatever, but see, he was thinking long term for Johnny Manziel. Johnny should call Mac.
Yes.
And apologize.
Yes.
Apologize to Mac Brown for not coming to Texas and being a defensive back and kick returner.
Question, is RG3 on the conference call? So what was the breakdown like from where you were sitting and generally for Horns fans versus Maryland fans?
So there were probably 75% of the people in the stadium were Longhorns.
So when I'm watching the game, and I think it looks silly when there's Longhorn players doing the arms like get it up, make noise. That was legit.
It was a home game.
That was a home game on the road. It's a neutral site home game for Texas.
I'll tell you how crazy it was. Is that several Maryland fans came up to me and asked me, "So are you from like this area?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from Texas." It's not like the Washington D.C. Longhorn Club or something. Like all these people are from Houston and Dallas and Austin, and I was like, and they come all the way for this game. I was like, "Yes."
We came 7 months for this game.
Yeah, a little bit of me feels sorry for this coaching staff. From the fact that this was one game, it was one loss. We didn't play that great. We should have won the game. Probably, we still should have won the game, even not playing good. But the fan sentiment is like 9 years of history. So this isn't like one game, So when you're at the game and you're talking to the fan base, it's so pessimistic, apathetic, and just really sad right now.
Something about this game that wasn't a big deal is you have a battle between 2 true freshman place kickers.
Wow.
How about that? Of all the things going on, there's 2 true freshman place kickers.
Wasn't there only one field goal kick though?
Well, here's the
we
part.
Didn't kick one.
Here we are going for. I don't know if it's a microcosm. I don't know if it's a fractal for the season. But this Texas team fields Dicker, the freshman place kicker, who his first play for the Longhorns, he kicks it. And then he's in on the tackle.
Yeah, I saw that.
So the freshman kicker is in on the tackle, and that to me has a lot to do with how we get to root for this team. Because I would love to go through a season where the place kicker had nothing to do with any tackles ever. That's the ideal, right? If you're in the kicker's room, you want to say, here's how it's done. May that day never come.
Yeah.
But we've got a freshman kicker on his first kick is in on the tackle. So the upside, the plus, the positive, he's ready to get in there. He wants to be a football player. He's making a football play. Honestly, here's the big win. The big win from Saturday is that there weren't more injuries. When we had an hour and a half delay and we've got a wet field, I was convinced, both sides, both teams, I was convinced season-ending injuries all around.
I thought I was going to slip and fall in the tunnel, too. So, it was all good.
You're in the stadium. You're not watching the broadcast. I'm watching the broadcast. And you asked earlier about Brady Quinn moments.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go the Brady Quinn moment for me. So both teams enter this game with a transfer named Trey Watson. We've got Trey Watson, the running back, who we said Ellinger throws behind him, and while he's trying to get the first, it's ruled a fumble. We can disagree on if it was a fumble or not, but that's what the ruling was. Trey Watson gives away a fumble, and then their Trey Watson transfer makes an interception. So we've got a game turning on transfer Trey Watsons for both teams, and Brady Quinn can't find a way to say it. Like, he's saying their names, even says them in a short span of time, but he can't pin it down that we have got a very odd coincidence where this game is turning on Trey Watson transfers, and it's just profoundly alienating to watch that broadcast and not have it hammered down. It's as if, in my introduction to Brady Quinn, do you remember the bowl game when his girlfriend's there, and every cutaway is Brady Quinn's girlfriend?
Because her brother played for Ohio State too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, he was like the linebacker.
And it's as if Brady Quinn's girlfriend's name was Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
And Musburger didn't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's Brady Quinn's girlfriend. Her name's Brady Quinn. And we'll just keep talking about the game. It's as if, here's what it is. Both Trey Watsons got passed on the depth chart. One Trey Watson got passed on the depth chart at Cal by a guy named Lincoln Oswald, and the other one got passed on a depth chart by a guy named Kennedy Booth. Like, if that were the case, we'd have to talk about it, right?
Well, in Brady's defense, that knot on his tie kind of gets up into his throat a little bit sometimes and chokes off the oxygen to his brain. But Brady Quinn, has there ever been a guy more hyped on college football TV than Brady Quinn? Like, if you're a halfway decent quarterback at Notre Dame, is there anybody that gets more play than the halfway decent quarterback at Notre Dame? Especially if he's a good-looking white dude that has a girlfriend in the stands.
My only comparison, and I've got to make a leap, so it's the post-Christian Laettner at Duke, where we have to say that Cherokee Parks is an important basketball player. And it's the same white guy syndrome, like, oh, we got another white guy, we're going to talk about, he's got kind of floppy hair. We had to go from Christian Laettner to Cherokee Parks like it mattered, and it didn't. But yeah, if you're a quarterback, golden boy in the Golden Dome, yes, there's a spotlight that's just different.
Yeah.
This thing that Texas does, where we find an opposing player and we inaugurate their Heisman campaign. And I'm thinking of Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Like, Taysom Hill, if all you saw was his highlights against Texas, you would say, that guy was one of the real players of college football. And on one Saturday, he was. Jayshon Jones, we just inaugurated his Heisman campaign. Like, right now, who's ahead of him? Who's ahead of Jayshon Jones for the Heisman?
He threw one, ran one in, and caught one. So,
like, there's your stat line.
Yeah. He's a freshman, too.
Freshman Jayshon Jones is in line for the Heisman, but Jayshon Jones, there's a play where Caden Stearns is defending Jayshon Jones. So freshman on freshman, the throw is to the end zone, and Caden Stearns manages to leap with Jay. They're both leaping for the ball, and the body control of Caden Stearns to maintain a few inches of distance. He doesn't body into him and get a foul in the end zone. He just makes a play on the ball, and it reminded me of Top Gun when there's the one playing right above. Like, Caden Stearns Top Gunned Jayshon Jones, and it was one play in the game. But if this guy's going to be making plays like that...
But I'll tell you one thing, is that he looks the part. I mean, he doesn't look like an 18 or 19-year-old kid out there either. He's a big kid, and he was keeping up with them and strong.
My go-to source of Longhorn information is Burnt Orange Nation.
Okay.
Like, I'll go to the statesmanhookem.com, but I can only do it at the start of the month because I'm not paying the whatever.
You only get 8 articles.
I get 8 articles and I'm done. So I make it a weekend, and then I'm done with Hookem, and then it's Burnt Orange.
Okay.
And I'm reading them, and I'm reading the comments, and all I hear are these guys criticizing. All Texas is doing is just stockpiling DBs, and if we're playing 7-on-7 with these DBs and receivers, we're great.
But if people are complaining that in the Big 12 you're recruiting a lot of defensive backs that are really, really good, then they're complaining about the wrong things. Because that's what you have to have in the league. If we played in a different league, they would be recruiting linebackers. If we were playing in the SEC, we'd be recruiting more linebackers and nose tackles. But we don't play in that league. We play in a league where they basically play 7-on-7. So you better have guys in the back that can run and jump and tackle.
I loved what I saw from Brandon Jones.
I think he played a really good game.
Brandon Jones made plays in coverage. He made plays with the ball on special teams. He was getting to the ball on defense. And he just, I don't know how he graded out. Obviously, this Texas team, like the ones we've seen for the last few years, they have these lapses where they feel like they've screwed him down tight and they're locking him down. And then out of nowhere, into the half USC. And all of a sudden you're just like, how? Why now? Why now are they getting 35 yards looking like a scrimmage when a minute ago we were locking them down like we knew what they were about to try to do?
Well, their big breakaway touchdown that the guy was wide open and then taunted at the end or whatever, that was Brandon Jones was on a safety blitz, and then the guy didn't come over. They had a couple freshmen back there, and the guy didn't come over and cover for him. But that's the only thing about the defense I thought in the game. They obviously blew some coverages, which are going to happen. They just didn't make any plays. That's if I was the coach, or if I would criticize, I would just, you guys got to make more plays. You got to disrupt the game. You got to make more plays.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about, because from last year's team, bowl game against Missouri, really the contributor from the defense that took the field, bowl game against Missouri, the contributor that's gone from that game is Puma Ford.
Oh yeah. Well, he gone from every game. I mean, he was a force.
But everyone else who was such a part of last year's defense, they weren't the ones, because we didn't have Malik, we didn't have Holton Hill, we didn't have Deshaun Elliott. So Deshaun Elliott and Holton Hill specifically, these guys, they're playmakers.
Yeah.
And to have Chris Boyd, the ball hits him in the hands. And the wounded duck that ends up in a pass interference, Devontae Davis. And Devontae Davis, that's a ball.
I hate that call, but I just hate that call. Like the guy throws a freaking duck, and you get bailed out because the receiver has to come back on that. I mean, Devontae looked back on it. That's just one of those calls. I hate that play in football because it happens a lot where they got to call pass interference, but throw a good ball and then the guy interfered, and that's pass. But you threw a freaking duck. And so I just hated that play, especially for Devontae. But that was a big play because that was like third and 18 or something.
Well, it reminds me of basketball. If you can draw contact on a shot attempt 3/4 court.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I draw contact on a heave at the end of the
half court shot. Yeah,
I'm shooting half court and I draw contact on my forearm. Am I supposed to get 3 foul shots for that clever move?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me switch gears from that. Well, let's get back to Brandon Jones, because Brandon Jones, as a freshman, comes in highly touted. In freshman year, he came in and he blocked some kicks. I think he blocked 2. And my question is, if we've got all these marvelous defensive backs, why are we so conservative setting up the return on punts? Why aren't we should be a nightmare. We have to snap the ball with those guys across from us. We should be a nightmare every time. And even late in the game, when you're saying we haven't been making plays, the one thing we need is a spark. And I feel like we're playing conservative when we've got the guys who should be able to disrupt. If one small mistake on a punt snap, on someone gets their footing wrong, and we should be eating their lunch. And the problem is, I feel like we're not being aggressive. I don't think we're not dialing it up like let's go make it happen. We're saying I'd rather play it safe, and maybe one of these guys will run into the kicker and knock his leg out. Which I think is just, let's play football. Let's go get the ball.
Yeah, I mean that's different philosophies of coaches. I think it's like some they. Like Virginia Tech's had that same guy forever, and so he likes to go block kicks. Mac Brown was a big kick blocker guy. But some coaches just aren't. You know, they don't think the risk reward on that is big. But that's the only thing about the defense I thought in the game. They obviously blew some coverages, which look, are going to happen. They just didn't make any plays. That's if I was the coach, or if I was criticized, I would just you guys got to make more plays. You got to disrupt the game. You got to make more plays.
Can I give you my defensive nightmare scenario?
Okay.
Here's my nightmare scenario. We are playing freshmen. Like I said, B.J. Foster, up and down game. Caden Stearns looked good. You said Kobe Boyce was in there, and everyone's hoping that this defense can come together. And here is the nightmare scenario. The nightmare scenario is sometime after Oklahoma, the defense really starts hitting on all cylinders just in time to make Todd Orlando good enough to be hired away, but we don't reap the benefits of the success. So what I'm saying is we could get to the point where we're still trying to qualify for the Independence Bowl, and in the meantime, Todd Orlando is leaving town, and who knows which of our commits are no longer convinced.
Well, look, I'm a big believer in it's not X's and O's, it's Jimmy and Joe's. But, look, I don't think the University of Texas has any problems going out and getting a defensive coordinator that can coach a bunch of defensive studs to tackle guys with footballs.
Well, you say that a couple years ago when we had to go out and mortgage the house to get Sterling Gilbert to come in. I mean, come on, that's an OC, not a DC, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't worry. I try not to worry about stuff like that. I just want them to play better. I think to be honest with you, I just want them to play better.
Final question. Have you ever seen a burnt orange sunset?
A burnt orange sunset? I'm sure I have.
My feeling is, as beautiful as it might be, it depends on particulate matter like wildfires and pollution. The right cocktail of wildfires somewhere and pollution, we may get a gorgeous burnt orange sunset because pollution's good for sunsets. People don't talk about that. Pollution, particulate matter is great.
Sandstorms, all that. So all it has to do is the wind has to blow out west and in the sands of the Permian Basin.
The mojo. The mojo of the Permian Basin.
Then we'll get a burnt orange sunset.
Wow. All right, well, that's week 1.
Swing you